Hello, if you're interested in learning about the Great Streets program or the locally made manufacturing program hosted by DEMPED, you have come to the right place. I'd like to start off this presentation by sharing a little bit about DEMPED Retail Grant Grow. If you're familiar with any of our grant programs or have applied to any in the past, you will notice that the process this year is a little bit different. With their new approach, DEMPED plans to streamline our internal administrative process, create an opportunity for business owners to participate directly in the grant review process, which really we believe will reduce grant fatigue for businesses. Instead of applying to different grant programs throughout the year, this is a new process where during this period of time, business owners have an opportunity to apply for one of our many different competitive retail grant programs all at once. And through these new processes, we're planning to leverage our new technology and introduce new metrics for measuring all of our different programs. Our most well-known grant program is called Great Streets. The goal of Great Streets is to transform certain designated emerging commercial corridors into thriving neighborhood experiences. For this, DEMPED targets newer existing front-faced retail businesses. For Great Streets, there is a total of $2.55 million in available funding. Businesses can request anywhere between a minimum of $25,000 to $85,000. Locally Made is another popular grant program that is similar to Great Streets in that it targets retail businesses, but this has a special focus on businesses that are involved in the manufacturing process. So the goal of Locally Made is to incentivize the development of single-tenant buildings that can accommodate small manufacturing, or it can also support multi-tenant buildings that can provide spaces for manufacturers, post-incubators, and emerging growth companies engaged in consumer good or durable good production. Locally Made has a total of $1.45 million available in funding, and businesses can request anywhere between $250,000 to $1.2 million each. Both Great Streets and Locally Made businesses have some of the same eligibility requirements. So all of these businesses must be located between one of the 13 Great Streets corridors. So Ward 2 enhancement is still included into the boundaries. This year, we're changing it up a little bit and allowing all past recipients to be eligible. But keep in mind that preference will go towards businesses that have never been awarded or businesses that are currently expanding some process within them. So this could include expanding their square footage. It could be expanding their business operations to opening up a new branch somewhere. It could be creating a very innovative process, but this business must be expanding their operations in some way. Additionally, the average annual revenue of the last 3 years has been increased. Previously, it was $1 million total, and now it is $2 million. So any business that has an average annual revenue for the last 3 years of $2 million or under is eligible for either of these grant programs. The eligible expenses of both of these grant programs include building out newer vacant space, interior or exterior renovation, purchasing equipment, marketing, public safety equipment, e-commerce sales systems, or to support any other processes that are similar to these expenses. Great Streets typically gets a lot of applications, and keep in mind that only up to 35 businesses will be awarded for this. Locally Made, while there is a higher amount that each business can receive, there is only 2 to 6 awards that will go out during this round. Both Great Streets and Locally Made request at least 2 years of site control, and this could be through a lease or a deed, but keep in mind that Great Streets will not allow an LOI, while Locally Made will allow LOIs. Both Grade Streets and Locally Made will follow the same scoring criteria: project impact, project feasibility and timeline, financial viability, accessibility and inclusivity, innovative and creativity, environmental sustainability, and community benefit are all important aspects of the scoring criteria. For project feasibility and timeline, the entire project must be completed within 18 months. And when I say project, I'm saying that the business must propose a very specific project that has certain goals, certain metrics, and again, must be completed within 18 months. For innovation and creativity, I would encourage businesses to really think about what their business is doing to attract customers and improve their customer experience. For example, some businesses that are in the clothing space might have a virtual dressing room in order for customers to come in and try on what they're selling without having to go through the physical process. So any business that is able to show that they're doing something unique to attract their customers will find themselves doing well in this category. In order to be eligible for either Grade Streets or Locally Made, businesses must be located within one of these 13 eligible Grade Streets corridors. In order to see if your business is eligible, please visit this link to check out if you are eligible on one of these locations. All you need to do is type in your business address, your project address, and if you are eligible, you will see a pop-up that says, "My business is in the eligible corridors." These are a list of all of the businesses that are not eligible for Grade Streets or Locally Made. As you can see it, there's a full list on the slide, but I would like to point out a few in particular. Home-based businesses. You will need to prove that your residential lease is different from your commercial lease, so you cannot operate out of your home. Additionally, any professional services or e-commerce businesses are not allowed. You will need to have site control of your business. One thing to note is that taverns may be eligible for this grant program if they are able to prove that a large portion of their sales comes from food and non-alcoholic items. One thing to consider is if your business has a working kitchen that is operational 75% of the working hours, you may be eligible through this exception in order to apply for one of these grant programs. What expenses are allowable for Grade Streets and Locally Made? While I briefly went over this earlier, I will go deeper into this on this slide. So you can use this funding towards exterior or interior improvements. 100% of the grant that you receive can go towards hard costs. And these hard costs again include building out new or vacant space, interior and exterior renovations, including facade improvements, purchasing and installing heavy equipment, but this has to be attached to a wall, floor, or ceiling. And then up to 35% of your grant can be applied towards point of sale and inventory management, hardware and software, marketing material, purchase of and installation of movable equipment and furniture, e-commerce sales systems, and this year we have now also added public safety equipment as a new allowable expense. All grantees, if you receive this grant, are required to enter into the private security camera rebate program. And what expenses are not allowable? Debts. Any expenses associated with preparing this application or any amount of money that you pay your technical assistance providers cannot be covered by this grant. Any inventory, legal fees, payroll, rent, and any other operational costs are not allowed in terms of allowable expenses for this program. And this includes anything that is not already previously listed under the eligible expense categories. This application process will occur in 3 different phases. So the first phase occurs between now and March 15th. So applicants must complete the following documents, and there are a list of documents that you need to complete: business tax returns, tax affidavit, and many other items that you will need to complete in order to qualify for this. I highly encourage businesses to get started as soon as possible for a couple reasons. Businesses that submit their pre-qualification earlier on have an opportunity for us to get back to them and let them know if anything is missing. So if you're missing a signature, if you're missing something's filled out wrong, if you're missing a document, you have an opportunity as a business to go back and revise your documents and resubmit anytime before March 15th. In addition, businesses that apply earlier and get a notification saying that they have now made it forward to the next round, they are the businesses that will have an opportunity to select first what days they would like to have their live technical review appointment. Businesses that wait till the end may not have much of a decision factor in when their appointment will be. So there is a lot of incentive to get done with your pre-qualification process as early as possible. If you wait until March 15th and you're submitting documents that might have an issue with them, there's definitely a chance that you might be in the position where you will not be able to qualify for the next round. And this is definitely a phase that every business that has their documents would be able to move forward to the live technical review appointment if they have everything accurately and submitted on time. For businesses that have accurately and efficiently submitted all of their pre-qualification documents, then they will get a letter from DEMPED saying that they have now moved forward to the live technical review appointment. So businesses will then schedule their live technical review appointment. This will happen anytime between March 18th and April 19th, and this applicant will now have an opportunity to answer a Q&A session in front of a series of professionals, subject matter experts, all coming from different parts of the DC government and different agencies. And so the business for this appointment must prepare a series of documents again. So this will include a PowerPoint deck, a budget proposal, a job creation chart, an economic impact formulation, and a couple more documents. So ahead of this time, the business will prepare all of these documents, and the subject matter experts in this panel will ask a live Q&A with their business at this time. This really allows for businesses to have an opportunity to get involved into their selection process and advocate for themselves. As businesses, you are the most passionate and knowledgeable about your own businesses, and this allows you to be directly involved and explain why you deserve this grant funding. And if you make it past the live technical review appointment, then within 2 weeks of your appointment, you will find out if you will receive a conditional award or not through a conditional award notification. And then you will move forward to receiving your award. Next steps. The next steps include getting your documents ready for pre-qualification. So the first couple documents that you will need to submit for your pre-qualification phase are business tax returns for the 3 previous years. And if you are wondering what you will do if you are a new business, for example, every year that you do not have of a business tax return, you can supplement with a year of personal tax returns. And the goal of these business tax returns is to demonstrate that you do meet the criteria of having an average annual revenue of under $2 million for the last 3 years. Other documents that you will need to submit are your tax affidavit, your landlord affidavit, debarment affidavit, arrest and conviction statement, your clean hands, your business license, and your proof of site control. So keep in mind that proof of site control will be a minimum of 2 years. It does not matter when you've signed this. If you've signed it today, that is fine, but you will need to have 2 years into the future of proof of site control. Then you will also need ethics accountability and your certificate of insurance. Also, an LOI will be accepted for locally made, but will not be accepted for Great Streets. So make sure you have a lease or another form of site control for Great Streets. Once you submit all of these documents, you will get a notification of if you are able to move forward to the live technical review appointment. Once you schedule this, you will have to prepare the following documents: a presentation deck, an executive summary, a budget proposal, a job creation chart, an economic impact formulation, an experience summary, and a letter of support. All of these templates will be provided. For the budget proposal, please remember that this will be a budget proposal that should match your request amount. And again, please only request the amount of funding that your business actually needs. You will need to include a list of items that you would like to purchase with this funding that will need to come from the list of eligible expenses. And there will need to be a justification, a thought through detailed justification that will go along with every item that you submit. And this again needs to be within the 100% allowable of hard costs and the 35% allowable of soft costs. This budget must only include your project items. This should not be a list of expenses that your business needs in general, such as operational costs. That is not what this funding is for. Additionally, you will see that you will need to submit a letter of support. So this letter of support can come from an ANC member or any reputable nonprofit. So you will need to think about very early what sort of organization that you will request this letter of support from and approach them early so that they have time to write that letter of support for you. If you have any concerns about preparing any of these documents, please remember that there are a lot of organizations out here that are here to support you in this process. There are many technical support organizations that exist, including the Main Streets. So please look out for them. Many of them are free. So please reach out to them and reach out to them as early as possible. They can help you with preparing these documents and helping you prepare for your Q&A presentation, live pitch, but they cannot present on behalf of you. If you are not a native English speaker, there can be translators that are there to support you during the pitch process. This presentation deck is just an overview of all of the items that are needed in order to prepare you for your application process, but I highly encourage that you check out the request for applications, the RFA, that is listed directly on the Great Streets website. This will include all of the items in detail from start to finish. It will include details on what we look for in terms of scoring criteria and more information about the documents that are needed. That document should really be your best friend. That should be your main point of reference for preparing this application and will give you the highest amount of success in your application. If you have any further specific RFA questions, please email grantandgrowexpo@dc.gov. Thank you for coming to learn more about this presentation and more about the Great Streets and locally made grant programs.